Hello, hello. This is going to be a bit more casual. I have nothing planned for this commentary. But I'm just cruising around in Audacious. Apparently I have a clanmate in my game, even though I'm playing solo, which is interesting. He's in Des Moines on the far side. But I'm going to see what I can do in the Audacious. Plenty of destroyers, one Holland and a Grozavoy though, so some of them are kind of irritating. Two of them are going to be together because of the division. So when I spot the Yoshino, I know I'm going to spot a Gearing and Shimikaze against an enemy midway. Need to move my hull. This is a very awkward spot to sit in normally. So spawning here is almost always a death sentence with a carrier's sluggish turning circle. Scouting, of course, with the Audacious is excellent. Rocket attack planes. Screening, even though I have a 9-kilometer spot radius, still have not been detected, which is interesting. There's that enemy midway. Just gonna do a rough loop, stay outside of the Kremlin's 6.6 air spot. Briefly touching the Kremlin AA. See if I'm still spotted when I leave the Kremlin's 9-kilometer spot radius. Yes, I am, so there's something either here or here. I think there's something here, based on the fact that I went dark. Yep, looks like there's something on this border. Where are you? So I was unable to screen anything, but interestingly enough, the midway has decided to get himself spotted, so I'm gonna just drop a fighter, and hopefully my Thunderer can put some fire onto him. Gearing, so that Yoshino and Shimikaze are there. I do accidentally clip some flag. I'm gonna see if I can harass that Gearing on the far side. I have been moving toward him quite slowly. Oh, so what was spotting me was in fact an AFK Grozavoy, which is, well, no longer AFK apparently. Sadly, even though I spotted the midway hull, he was not in fact shot at, but there's an enemy Shimikaze inside of B now, so I'm gonna put some fire onto him. Pop my cooling here. See if we can put damage onto him with the Audacious rockets. 12 rockets for 7,900. He's unlikely to have moved too far. Jamming down on the air brake. Oh, he fired. I know roughly where he is. He's on the very edge of the smoke. But you can see the tanky nature of my Audacious rocket planes means that I don't take damage really. I'm gonna lose a plane more than likely, but I'm gonna pick up a Shimikaze kill with a single rocket. GK pushing in. So he's pretty heavily armored in spite of my 41 mils of pen. But that shouldn't be a problem. Thunder is actually a better target. I think I'll just lead with one target hit. We're going to be going through a combined combined Hindenburg, Ohio, Thunder AA aura. Going to come from this side rather than this side to avoid the Hindenburg for as long as possible. But the target of our ire is, in fact, this Thunderer. There's another low HP Gearing here, so I'm going to see if I can just make a go onto him. dropping in advance. So we aborted the mission, but even if we don't kill him, the objective was to just spot him briefly. Now we've aborted the strike onto the Thunderer, but the Hindenburg is still in range, and we have plenty of HP on the last 3 aircraft, so I'm quite fine with ramming these in. Only 2 aircraft now, so unlikely to get too much of a good hit. We score 1 bomb hit, but that's fine. We're getting control. Looking for viable targets might actually be the Kremlin of all things, with her 6.6 kilometer long-range AA and her extensive torpedo bulge. Clever's quite lit, so I'm gonna try and protect him. Need to drop the fighter well in advance of those midway HEDVs. Dropping the fighter on me, which is annoying. Probably should have speed boosted out to avoid getting hit 100%, but seems quite fine. Not sure that Kremlin is going to continue steaming forward toward all my teammates. I would imagine he doesn't. There's that long-range AA engaging me, but I'm going to duck behind this mountain and avoid it more or less. Looks like he's creeping forward just slightly. Pop my heal now at this point. You can see because my squadron is very large, it does provide a lot of effective healing. Swooping out and away from the enemy AA. Gonna try and get a second hit. He's probably reversing at this point. Trying to hit him on the bow because that's where the least torpedo protection is. Looking for my next target. This Thunderer is still a pretty good target to hit. Another 3 torpedo hits onto the Kremlin, I get an incapacitation, but because it's the Kremlin, he's probably going to damage control whatever it was, if it was critical. So I can't stop this current midway strike, so I need to anticipate him living. I'm going to see if he survives the drop. If he does, I'm going to drop a fighter here in front of him to screen off any potential rocket attack planes from the midway with her F-8F Bearcats. Thunder pops defensive fire, as indicated by that hot red flag. Combined AA auras of the Kremlin and Thunderer are extremely potent, lead just slightly, favor the center toward that midway hull on the minimap. 10 pens, 1 fire, didn't look at the damage, but it looks like it was at least 10,000. Have 3 aircraft left. Gonna do a screening hit onto the Grozovoy because my Holland is quite low. No, Destroyer is quite tricky to hit, especially with the level bombers, but you gotta do what you gotta do. 3-second lead time means I have to give him a fair amount of lead. He does in fact get dispatched, along with what looks to be the enemy carrier soon. There's that enemy carrier hull. Enemy Holland up ahead with an enemy Des Moines, both are viable targets for rockets, so I'm just going to take the rocket attack aircraft of the Western Empire. Looks like he's ducking behind cover, but that's what the carrier is for. Just for expediency, gonna pop my engine cooling in case there's some kind of emergency. He doesn't have any smoke screen, but I'm just gonna make sure he dies. Locking in the attack now at 4 kilometers. He does in fact die. Now let this attack abort. Turning circle was pretty poor without boost, but I used most of it earlier, so. Aiming for the superstructure and bow stern, either one will be fine. See me raking that superstructure for a fire. Ducking back over the mountain to avoid too much of the overlapping Ohio AA. Tightening my turning circle by slamming the air brake. Arming at 3.2 is a bit close, but can be done, especially against a minimally maneuvering target like so. Whoa, that is some frame stutter if I've ever seen it. going after him with the level bombers, he's bow in, which makes it a perfect target to hit, and then I can follow up with a hit onto the Ohio who's fleeing. The Ohio with her 32 and 38mm armor sections is a perfectly valid target. Gonna let this attack abort again. Gonna chase with speed as long as possible. Remember, once I enter the attack, I will enter the attack speed, which is a bit lower than cruising speed of 181. Give the Ohio a fair amount of lead. 5,000-ish damage, not too bad. Have to wait for the reset, but that gives me plenty of time to swing around. My fighter intercepts some enemy attack lanes. A bit underled, but still 10,000 raw HE damage. I'm gonna enter the attack a little early, even though it slows me down, just to get the tank bonus. And at this point, I'm gonna zoom a little closer, pop a fighter to give 1 extra minute of spotting. Want to leave that fighter radius. So that'll allow these 3 to shell the crap out of that enemy midway hull, and I can assist this enemy Kremlin, or my allied Kremlin rather, with the Thunderer. Engaging this Thunderer here, looking for a flood. He pops defensive fire as indicated by the heavy red flag, but I have a full squadron to heal with, so looks like he's sitting there, pull away from the overlapping AA aura of the Kremlin. He shorts my first torpedo due to poor aiming on my part, and I score only 1 hit. However, because of the tanky nature of the Audacious torpedo planes, I am able to still get 2 bombs off, and now I can take the optimal armament of the level bomber against the enemy Thunderer hull. Score would get 1 more flood, gonna move toward the enemy to reduce my sortie time and to provide some additional AA support. You can see I've hardly lost any aircraft here due to the initial early spotting, and now because they got into hard spot range of that enemy midway hull, they are able to dispatch him. Thunder recovered, of course, in 32 all over, which means that my 41mm pen bombs just absolutely shred him. Since I'm already on top, this is going to be the last attack I'm making. Let's arm nice and early to get the full dispersion on the drop. Give him a little bit of lead. That fighter's arming, but it's gonna be dragged over my allied Kremlin. Another 7,000. Trying to take off some planes. Bit of delay because my Harrier hull launched a fighter. Don't need to move that far forward because there's a Kremlin coming forward toward me, and I don't really want to deal with that. Just score fire, which is still ticking on that enemy Thunderer. Or Thunderer, rather. Try and bail him out, score some floods. However, it ends up being unnecessary. So I'm not going to have a good angle because of the way he's approaching me. You can see that render distance kind of preventing him from being drawn. Just going to go for a bow hit first, don't care about anything in particular. I want to just optimize my attack times Going for one hit, and now do in fact get my single bow hit. Don't care about carrier optimization. He's moving forward, so give him some lead. Now we rake with the bombs. Need to bring my hull back, or I'll just move forward at this point. Brake steering. Connect all three, and that'll be a kill, leaving just the Yoshino. And at this point I can abort that movement into away from the enemy, and I can just aim to spot out the Yoshino with a fighter first. Oh, I don't have a fighter. So I'll do 2 hover passes, and then come back for him probably with rockets just for ease of use. He pops defensive fire, again angry red flak, no to recognize it. If you hit a flak while defensive fire is running, well, there's no helping you. This guy's not maneuvering because he's trying to stay angled, so very, very easy full rake for me. 12,000 and 2 fires. Again, arming so I can get a nice accurate drop. I'm hoping to expend these 2 orange and red health aircraft actually to the constant DPS, and that way I can get a last gas boost like so and boost into the proper position. 5 bombs, and that'll be the dispatch for the end of the match. Just a very simple, not so detailed in commentary Audacious game, but nice smooth performance. 149,000, just shy of 150,000, but it is what it is. 12 torpedo hits, 51 bomb hits, 1 target hit by, or 1 plane interdicted by hull, 4 incaps, 1 kill, 7 fires, 4 defender ribbons, 7 spotting ribbons, 43 target hits by rocket, and 3 planes interdicted by fighter. Team score-wise, close to the top, but again, a little too much farming of battleships, so we end up with 1800. My divmate doing a good job for himself in the Des Moines, or not divmate, but clanmate rather. In detailed report-wise, you can see when the bombs do have targets to hit, such as this Kremlin, or rather this Thunderer and the Ohio, they do inflict quite a bit of damage, as you can see. So a lot of bomb alpha. Torpedoes are normally the bread and butter of the Audacious, but the bombs, when applicable, are a superior weapon. It's just that they're rather specialized for anti-battleship work, and even then, not all battleships are the same. The Kremlin, for example, probably would have taken next to no damage from the bombs had I had to use them. Large cruisers as well are actually fairly susceptible to the Audacious bombs, unless their name is of course Stalingrad with the 50 mil plate, which does shatter my 41 mil pen bombs, which is unfortunate. Spec-wise for modules and captain, still running the same stuff, but in case you were wondering, Airgrips mod 1, Aircraft engines 1, torpedo speed, aerial torpedoes modification 1, dive bomber health for bomber health, flight control mod for extra deck space and regeneration time, and plane health. Now I have been considering switching over to plane speed, but the thing is, as you saw in that game, sometimes you don't actually get the proc Andrew Cunningham's lightning fast talent, which does require you get 2 floodings. Or this one actually, sorry. So the speed's only really worth it if you can get access to this extra 5% plane speed and combine it with the 2.5 here and then another 5% there. But without it, I'd rather take plane health, so as a result, the end result is that I end up taking the plane health module. This is my captain build. The core 9 skills, typical, including the improved aircraft armor. The extra 1.5% usually it ends up equating to, let's just do an example. So if I take, say, a Worcester, I don't have a Worcester in my port, for example. Alright, if I take a Des Moines, which has an A defense of 379 continuous, and you're in the mid-range aura, let's say, so you're being fired upon by long-range and mid-range. So 417 plus 105, that's about 500. So normally you'd get 50 reduction from, or 50-ish reduction, a little more than that technically, 52 damage reduction per second from aircraft armor. With Andrew Cunningham's improved aircraft armor, you would reduce an extra 1.5%, which comes out to roughly 7.5, so instead of doing 52, you'd be reducing about 60, so the difference is not that large in the end. Anyhow, the important skills for the Audacious are the core 9, and then plane speed, and then fire. And from there you have 5 points with which you can do whatever you want. I prefer Concealment Expert plus Last Gasp, but your spec choices may vary. Other options include Sight Stabilization, plus another 1-pointer, or taking these two 1-pointers plus Adrenaline Rush, plus this 1-pointer, for example. Even you could amplify your AA by taking AFT or BFT, although I would not recommend that. But anyhow, the Audacious is rather flexible after you spec those... How many points was that? 13? 13 points or so. 13, 14? 14 actually. But yeah, just a casual game. Not too much to say. I was going to actually do an Indomitable gameplay review since she is the last carrier left in the game that's actually able to slingshot like before. But alas, not everything always happens the way you planned. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed that quick Audacious match on patch 0.93, and I hope you are surviving your carrier clan battles. With that said, in this nice random battle, I will catch you all later.